While hockey is indeed for everyone, the 2 points from last night's game against the Vegas Golden Knights belong strictly to the Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day, and we are now the number one sports podcast network. I am your host, Ian McLaren. I am a lifelong Boston Bruins fan, and I've been covering this team and the NHL in general for various outlets for nearly 20 January 23rd, we are going to discuss last night's thrilling win over the Vegas Golden Knights on what was Hockey is for Everyone night at TD Garden. We'll break down the storylines, the stats, and the significance of this win before previewing a massive game on Saturday night back at the Garden against the rival Montreal Canadiens. Before we get started, I want to remind you that the Everydayer Club is built specifically for you. If you're a regular listener of Locked On Boston Bruins, check out the Everydayer Club and you'll get access to the Locked On Bruins Discord channel where we can continue the conversation over there. The other night in Dallas, our Bruins were absolutely smoked by the Stars, and this was a big bounce back victory for the Bruins. Their sixth consecutive win on home ice, and more importantly, a pretty convincing, early on at least, performance against a very good Vegas team. The Bruins jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the first period. They built that to 4-0. Eventually, the Vegas Golden Knights score effects and their talent level kicked in, and they made it, fairly interesting near the end where it was a 4-3 result for the Bruins, but the key is they held on, they scored enough to get the victory, and according to head coach Marco Sturm, they just had the right attitude. Touched on a few things from the Dallas game. Obviously, they didn't like it, how it went, how it turned out. Guys showed up for this one against Vegas, and they wanted to prove anyone wrong in terms of the Bruins not being able to elevate their game against some of the better competition in the NHL. They wanted to prove that they are better than what they showed the other night in Dallas. Was on fire early on. The Bruins scored, kick off the scoring. That was almost all that they needed. Of course, they had to get the one extra in order to really seal this one. But those 3 goals in 54 seconds, one from Charlie McAvoy on a rocket on the power play, another from Elias Lindholm, and then Tanner Jeannot with a great effort with Sean Corrali to steal the puck, get it on net. David Pastrnak chipped in his 21st to go along with 2 primary assists in this one for the game-winning goal. The Bruins did make it interesting by allowing Jack Eichel to score early in the third. Thomas Hertl got a power play goal in the third period off a who was it who took that penalty? It was a Marat Husnudinov roughing penalty on Jeremy Lauzon. Jonathan Aspro took a penalty. Shortly thereafter, they were able to kill that off. Pavel Dorofeyev made it 4-3 with about 2.5 minutes left, but the Bruins were able to hang on what was Hockey is for Everyone night. And of course, bigger than the game, bigger than that specific game, bigger than the game of hockey as a whole. And the Bruins were well represented as they celebrated the promotion of inclusivity regardless of race, religion, national origin, gender, disability, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. Charlie McAvoy afterwards, within the Bruins room, they've tried to do things as well as they can to echo that message. He was happy that of course, they won on that night to celebrate everybody being interested and involved in hockey. And hopefully a lot of people feel the support of the Boston Bruins. And then, of course, it was McAvoy who got things going with the first goal of the game. Pastrnak said, in terms of the power play, they were direct. It went in. Big 2 goals to begin, on which he and Morgan Geekie got the assists, got them some confidence, and he believes, and rightly so, the Bruins have been playing some good hockey at home, 6 wins in a row. The fans are behind them, and they have to keep building on that. New look fourth line, like I mentioned, chipped in. Tanner Jeannot finished the scoring burst, the 3 goals in 54 seconds with a sharp angled shot from the left side. Kuraly kept the puck in the zone, dropped it to his line mate, and that was Sean Kuraly's 100th career assist. The new look fourth line of Jeannot, Kuraly, and Mark Kastelik been playing very well. Kastelik was all over the ice, bumping guys, getting into a fight, leveling some big hits, and also aggressive on the forecheck. They're trying to play a simple game, and they want to be hard on other teams and play in the offensive zone as much as they can. They were rewarded for that last night. Now, obviously, it wasn't the third period that they wanted. The Bruins would have liked to have dictated the play a little bit more and maintain the lead better than they did. But at the end of the day, as McAvoy said, they saw it through, got the 2. Is for everyone is the thing that matters most in the end. But at the same time, giving up 3 goals in the third period is not something that you want to just say, well, we got the 2 points and it's all good. You can't really let another team come back to within 1 goal when you have a 4-0 lead heading into the first period. It speaks to the talent level of the Vegas Golden Knights. I think anybody coming into this season would have thought, and probably rightly so, that Vegas would be a better team than the Boston Bruins. And right now, after last night's game, these 2 teams are tied in terms of total points so far this season, although Vegas does have a better goal differential and a better point percentage. So you can probably still argue that Vegas is a better overall team than the Boston Bruins. And that overall, to get a win on home ice in regulation against a team like Vegas is a win. You would have liked to have seen them tighten things up a bit more in the third period. And it just comes down to kind of score effects, right? Score effects is the hockey term for that is chasing the lead is obviously going to do more to try to get back into the game. So that's where you see a team with a big lead, and then you have the other team trying to climb that hill, being as aggressive as possible, taking some chances, because what do they have to lose at that point? And that's where you get the even up, which is really to expect the Bruins to come out and beat Vegas 5-0, 6-0 would have been a tall order. The fact that they came out with the 2 points is indeed all that matters, but you would like to see them tighten things up in the third period. And, it's very difficult to shut out a team like Vegas, but at least keep it to a couple goal lead at the very least. Anyways, all that to say, and again, you can see that in the third period specifically. The Bruins outshot Vegas 15-4 in the first period. Then shots were 8-8 in the second period. The first period is when the Bruins outscored Vegas 3-0 with that 15-4 shot advantage. 8-8, pretty tight. And then in the third period, The shots were 21-5 in favor of Vegas. So you can see that huge push by the Golden Knights to try to get back into it. They did get back into it, but ultimately the Bruins were able to close the door. So dominant first period for the Bruins, where they outscored them 3-0. Dominant third period for Vegas, where they outscored the Bruins 3-0, outshot them 21-5. Even second period, David Pastrnak's goal in that frame was the difference in that one. We'll discuss some more stats from this game as well as the significance of it before previewing the Montreal Canadiens game here as the podcast continues. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode, and every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack for them inside the app. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're back in momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. They give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. You make your picks, apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs continue rolling. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Thank you so much again for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. Thank you for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And if you haven't done so already, please go check out our new Everydayer Club. If you're already listening to the podcast every day or even a few times a week, this is for you. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Bruins, compatible with every major podcast app, and you'll get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of Locked On Boston Bruins. In the chat right now, there's a member who's sharing mock-up jerseys that are so cool. Go in there, check it out. Go to lockedonbruins.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. So I kind of went over the shot stats and how that kind of affected the game. Overall, last night, though, the Bruins at 5-on-5 had the advantage over Vegas. 52.8% of the shot attempts, 57.5% of the shots. Scoring chances were actually in favor of the Golden Knights. They had 22 scoring chances compared to 19 for the Bruins at 5-on-5. High danger chances were 11-8 in favor of Vegas. And of course, a lot of that came in the third period when they were making that push. In all situations, it's tilted even more towards Vegas. And in fact, if you look at the expected goals in this one, in all situations, Vegas had 4.88 versus 3.22 for the Bruins. They had more shot attempts, shots, scoring chances, and high danger chances than the Bruins, and that really speaks to the strong play of Joonas Korpisalo, especially early. There was a couple of opportunities that he just absolutely robbed. I believe it was Ivan Barbashev in the first period. The Bruins easily could have gone up 4-5-0 in the first. Akira Schmid made a few big saves in the midst of that. I remember one, Victor Arvidsson came around. Pavel Zacha had a glorious opportunity. By the same token, Joonas Korpisalo made some huge stops, especially in the first, kept the Bruins in it while being peppered like over one shot per minute in the third period. He made 30 saves on 33 shots to continue his recent string of strong play, dating back to January 8th, a game against Calgary. He's made 4 starts. He came into the Dallas game, but peep these save percentages. 909 last night, .917 in a start against the Chicago Blackhawks. Then we had a shutout against Pittsburgh. .966 save percentage against the Calgary Flames. He took 2 L's in late December, but still had in one of them a .909 save percentage. Joonas Korpisalo has been excellent in 2026, especially. And the fact that the Bruins were able to shake off that game against Dallas, in which Jeremy Swayman had what's become for him a bit of a rare bad start, is a testament to how much Joonas Korpisalo has improved as of late. His save percentage in November was .882. That was in October. In November, it dipped to .865. Got a bit better in only 5 appearances in December, where he had an .898 save percentage. But in January, 4 starts, 5 appearances. He came in late in the Dallas game, stopped 3 shots, all 3 shots that he faced. His save percentage is .948. And his performance last night kept the Bruins in it and gave them a chance to come out with those 2 points. And that was massive for the Bruins. In a game where the expected goals, Vegas had 4.88. They kept it to 3, so that's 1.88 goals below expected for Korpisalo last night. He outplayed Schmid, and the Bruins certainly benefited from that performance from him. So good on our boy Korpisalo for continuing this strong run of play. David Pastrnak, 3 points total, 1 goal, 2 assists to lead the way for the Bruins with 6 shots on goal, which was a team high. It's nice to see Morgan Geekie. He hasn't been scoring a ton. He did score the other night. Come back with 2 assists in this one. He's got 4 points over his last 4 games. So hopefully he is starting to round back into form as well. A big 2 points for the Bruins in the standings. They maintained their hold on the second wildcard spot and put some distance between themselves and the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are directly behind them in the standings. The Florida Panthers, Philadelphia Flyers, now 4 points back of Boston, although they do have 2 games in hand, and the Maple Leafs have a game in hand as well. Always, always, always important to look at point percentage, because that tells you teams that have played fewer games, maybe they've earned a higher percentage, have a point percentage. But right now, it pretty much tracks the way things are going, with a slight change near the bottom. The Bruins right now, 7th in the Eastern Conference in terms of total points, 60 points in 51 games for a .588 point percentage. If you kick it to point percentage, though, they are ever so slightly behind the New York Islanders, who have a point percentage of 59. 59 points in 50 games. The Bruins have 60 points in 51 games. So it's 59% for the Islanders and 58.8% for the Boston Bruins, who are ahead of the Maple Leafs, who are at .570, followed by the Panthers and Flyers at .561. Huge game tonight that we're wanting to keep an eye on, and that would be Toronto hosting Vegas. It's Mitch Marner's return to Toronto, but also we're hoping Vegas can hold off the Maple Leafs and keep them from picking up 2 points, because then the Bruins and Leafs would have played 51 games apiece, and it would maintain that 3-point lead for the Bruins in the wild card race. The Bruins at +11 in terms of goal differential, which is 5th in the East. Buffalo just keeps winning. They've won 2 in a row, 7-2-1 over their past 10. The Bruins are 8-2 over their past 10. And the only team better right now in the East in that span is the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have won 9 games out of their past 10 at 9-0-1 overall. So extremely tight in the Eastern Conference. The teams that are really kind of, you could probably say, out of it would be the New York Rangers. But then you look at like Washington, they have a winning record, 24-21-6. I guess that's actually 24-27 if you look at wins and losses, 529 point percentage, but a plus 10 goal differential. They should probably be better than they are. The Blue Jackets are streaking a bit. The Devils are trying to hang on. The Panthers got Matthew Tkachuk back. You know they're going to make a move at some point. So that just means tomorrow night's game against Montreal, the Habs are 3 points up on the Bruins with the same amount of games played. It's a huge game. The Bruins could really level up and begin to challenge for third spot in the Atlantic with a regulation win over Montreal. That's a game we'll preview more extensively here as the podcast continues. Bruins, Canadiens, Saturday night at TD Garden. What more could you ask for? It's going to be a beauty of a game as this rivalry feels like it's kind of back, right? The Bruins and Canadiens have played twice already this season. Boston won 3-2 in the opener on November 15th, going 7-for-7 on the penalty. Marat Nudinov, Mason Lohrei, Victor Arvidsson doing the scoring in that game, while it was, who was in net for the Bruins in that one? Jeremy Swayman making 26 saves on 28 shots. The next game, though, not as favorable for the Bruins on December 23rd. Heading into the holiday break, the Canadiens won 6-2. The Bruins were actually up 2-1 in that one, and then things just went right off the rails, and the Bruins lost 6-2. Now, the first game they played, of course, was the game in which Charlie McAvoy was injured. McAvoy did not – was he back for that game? Second game against the – yeah, he was back for that game against the Canadiens, but Swayman, 23 saves on 29 shots. That was just one to forget for the Boston Bruins as they kind of limped into the holiday break after having lost to Edmonton, the Canucks in a shootout, the Senators 6-2. On the 29th of December, but since then, they have been absolutely dynamite. Began with a run. The run began with a win over Edmonton on New Year's Eve. And so far in 2026, they've only lost 2 games. 7-4 to the Kraken and then 6-2 to the Dallas Stars. The Bruins and Canadiens, again, will be meeting for the third time this season. Montreal is 6-3-1 over their past 10 games. They're coming off a loss to the Buffalo Sabres the other night. And prior to that, they beat Minnesota and Ottawa. The Bruins 8-2 over the past 10, of course. They had won 6 in a row before the loss to Dallas and then rebound with that win over Vegas. Let's look at the tail of the tape. The Bruins up to 5th on the power play. Couple power play goals last night against the Golden Knights. 26.4% success rate. The Canadiens are 11th at 23%. Montreal's penalty kill is worse than Boston's as well. They're 77.7%, which is 23rd. Canadiens can score, though. 3rd ranked offense in the NHL, and that's without for a while now, Kirby Dach was out of the lineup. He just came back the other night. Patrick Laine still out of the lineup. This team is so balanced with 4 players with at least 40 points. And 3 of them have at least 50 points. Nick Suzuki leads the way, 57 points in 51 games. Cole Caulfield with 26 goals and 50 points in 51 games. Ivan Demidov, 43 points in 51 games. And Juraj Slafkovsky is really popping lately too. He's got 40 points, including 19 goals, which is second on the Canadiens. And then, of course, on the back end, you have Lane Hutson, who's got 52 points in 51 games. Noah Dobson. Like, this is a team that can beat you many different ways, and even just more dangerous with Doc back in the lineup soon. Perhaps also Patrick Laine will be back. So loaded offense. The Bruins can't afford to take penalties or allow this team to build much momentum 5-on-5. The Bruins are ninth in offense, 3.29 goals per game. Better defensively, though. They're allowing 3.1 goals per game, while Montreal is allowing 3.27, which is 25th. So defensively, this 87 save percentage. Sam Montembeault, 9-7-2, but with an 871 save percentage. For the Bruins, it will likely be Jeremy Swayman getting the start as the Bruins continue to rotate, although maybe they go with the hot hand in Korpisalo. He's up to 897 save percentage for the season. Swayman at 903. And if you look at 900 kind of being the average, lately, though, the Bruins have been getting unreal goaltending. In 2026, their team save percentage is just kind of bonkers, actually. They've been playing so well as of late in net, and the Bruins have been, benefiting from it hugely. Since and including that game against the Edmonton Oilers, the Bruins team save percentage is 918, which is second only to third behind Tampa Bay at 919 and 920, the Detroit Red Wings. The Montreal Canadiens, 873. So goaltending could really be the difference in this game in favor of the Boston Bruins. In terms of hot scores, Cole Caulfield leads the way for Montreal with 5 goals, 7 points over their past 5 games. David Pastrnak's got 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points to lead the Bruins in all those categories over the past 5. Lane Hutson with 6 assists for Montreal to lead them in that category. Should be a banger. A lot on the line as the Bruins are looking to move up, challenge for third spot in the Atlantic, which is massive because that's a guaranteed playoff spot. If you are out of that, it's a wild card toss-up, all the divisions in the play. So this is going to be such a fun one to watch, and I cannot wait to do so. If you want to join me on the Locked On Bruins Discord channel and chat Bruins Habs while the game is going on, I highly recommend you check out the Everydayer Club, lockedonbruins.supercast.com. Once again, we have Johnny9109 in the chat posting a Bruins jersey mock-up for the win last night against Vegas. Really cool to have that chat going on. Check it out at lockedonbruins.supercast.com for the details. Get into that channel before tomorrow night's game. You also get ad-free episodes. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 podcast network. On Monday's show, we'll recap the game against the Canadiens and all the latest on the Boston Bruins, of course. And please do take care of yourselves over the weekend. Take care of each other. Looks like there's a massive storm heading your way if you're in the New England area. So please do stay safe. Help out your neighbors who may be struggling. Parts of Mass, New England, looking to get 1 to 2 feet of snow. So my thoughts are with you folks, and hope you can stay safe, stay warm, and can get around, get the things that you need to get through this storm. Thank you again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Please do subscribe if you have not done so already. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.